to The Nick and Co. Show, the greatest sports show in the world.
Well, maybe it's the greatest sports show in the world by a guy named Nick. We're not sure. Don't quote us.
Find us at Nick and Co. Show and at the BLPA on all social channels. Find Nick.
Why the hell would you want to do that?
At Nicker Jones on Twitter and at The Nicker Jones on Instagram. Want to help support the BLPA and the show? Give us your money at patreon.com/Beer League Inc.
Let's go. Let's go. Liz.
What are you saying? Let's go?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, guys. What's going on? It's Nick here, obviously, the Nick and Co. Show, so why wouldn't I be here? Today, we have a pretty special show. As most of you guys know, I'm traveling around North America right now in an RV on a tour, I guess you would say. The Termination Tour, actually, is what we're calling it. And we, I was laying in bed one night, all sad and lonely and thinking about, things that I want to do when I was a little kid, because I never thought in a million years that I'd be traveling around the world as an adult playing hockey in an RV. And so I was like, you know what? When I was a little kid, I wanted to do things like play baseball professionally and, maybe be a rock star, because rock stars are cool. And so that got me to thinking, like, do I know any people that actually were touring rock musicians, rock stars per se? And so I reached out on the BLPA and found a couple. And so today with me, I have John and Mark. John and Mark, how you guys doing?
Hi. Hey, what's up?
Not much. All right, I'm going to go through their introductions here, guys. But John is from Long Island. He's still on the island, and he is currently in the band called The Drones. He was a tour manager. Well, he started out with selling merch or doing merch stuff for bands. Then he started tour managing for Emmure, In-Wall, For the Fallen Dreams, Recon, and the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza. Rad name. He also drove for Emmure in transit, and there is a hockey connection. He was an ACHA Div 2 hockey player. John, that's quite a mouthful, but welcome on the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Glad I can come by.
Hey, no problem. And next, Mark Castillo. Castillo. He said there's 100 ways to say it and said he didn't care how I said it, so that's how I'm going with it. So Mark was one of the founding members of Bury Your Dead. They've sold 500,000 albums, and to take another hockey podcast saying, not a big deal. He also played for Between the Buried and Me, Crossfade, and Emmure. And John, and maybe a lot more people, I don't know, regard Mark as one of the best drummers to slap the skins. Mark, thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, boys. Well, I mean, let's get to it first. I mean, I want to talk about hockey because both you guys are hockey players. Like we said, John was an ACHA Div 2 player, and I don't know much about Mark's hockey, but I heard he's a gear nerd, and so he's all right with me. But I want to get to what we want to talk about first, the music business and being touring badass rock star people. So, hey, let's talk. I mean, how did you guys get into it? Like, John, I know you're in a band now, but you actually told me you started with merch and then tour managing and then started driving people. So, like, how did you get into the music industry concert scene to begin with?
Well, pretty much probably like everybody else who got into it. You go to shows when you're like in 9th grade and 10th grade, and like you start to make friends, and then some of those friends end up getting signed, and then all of a sudden all your friends get signed, and then you're on tour. Simple way to put it.
Oh, I thought people got into it for the chicks.
I mean, that happens.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just realistic.
That's why we play college hockey, though.
For the that's why I started playing hockey, but not to pick up chicks, but because my chick made me, because she's Canadian and kind of forced me into it. But
there you go.
But I mean, when I was in junior high and high school, I mean, you want to be a rock star because you want to be popular with the ladies. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But then there's also like the music side of the things, which when we talk about that, Mark, like you said, one of the best drummers to slap the skins. Mark, how did you get it? Like, did you just always want to be a drummer?
No, my brother was the drummer, and I actually started out. Okay, so here we go. My whole family is classically trained, mostly horns, and I had fallen into that and started playing the trumpet when I was, 5. Went to band camps, did all that thing, played concerts. And then, my brother started playing drums at some age. And when I had enough balls, I would sneak on his drums because it felt like, what was that movie? Step Brothers, was it?
Oh, with
Where he
Will
said,
Will
"Don't."
Will Ferrell and
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
touch
yeah, Step Brothers.
whatever you do. Don't touch my drums. Don't touch my drums. So I would touch his drums when he wasn't around. And that's how I started playing drums. I would just fiddle around. I tried taking lessons, and I took one official lesson and said, I don't like this. So I started playing drums when I was around 6 or 7 years old. I would just sneak on my brother's drums when he was out with his friends or something like that. And I joined my first band when I was 12 or 13. And it kind of snowballed, You're playing drums, people are seeing you playing drums, and then before you know it, you're in another band and another band, and then that band gets attention. It happens so quickly. It's crazy how fast sometimes it happens.
Oh yeah, for sure. So like you said, you're classically trained on the other instruments, but the drums you just kind of picked it up and kind of went, eh?
I did. I would the first album ever that I attempted to learn was KSAD Sepultura.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's where I came in on, and then I wanted to be the Candiria drummer.
Oddly enough, my friend is the Candiria drummer now. My friend Danny.
Yeah, man. It blew my mind thinking somebody could play drums like that. So I would try and imitate him, in my room. And then before you know it, I would have a Sepultura album down. I'd have the Candiria songs, a couple of them down. I'm not going to say I played them correctly, but I played them the way I thought they were supposed to be played.
Yeah, hard to play, bro.
So
Yeah,
so it sounds like you basically are just playing drums by ear, like just you hear it and
yeah,
and you bang it out.
that's how I picked it up, and then that's how you get your own little style going. It's always everybody's style, in my opinion, is just a mixture of who you appreciated as a drummer growing up. So a little bit of this from him, a little bit of that from him. Now you're starting to build your own style.
So how rare is that you just kind of pick it up? Because and the reason I ask is my first wife was crazy musically talented, like toured around and did it, and she played everything by ear, every instrument by ear, and it blew my mind when she's like, "Oh, you really like this song?" And she said I'd never heard it. She listened to it a couple times and then picked up the guitar, started picking it out, and then within 20 minutes she had the damn thing down. And so I always wondered, how common is that, just to be able to pick up instruments and go?
Well, I'm not really sure exactly, how common it is, but I can relate to what you just said. Like, if you threw me a song and gave me a few hours, I could figure it out for you. It might not be perfect, but I could figure it out for you. Like, it's just being able to visualize. As for me, as a drummer, it's being able to visualize what that drummer's doing, and then you trying to do it as well.
Okay, interesting. So, John, what instrument do you play? Instruments?
I actually play drums, and for 100% fact of my life, I've probably played one of the Bury Your Dead albums more than any album I've played or played through. Pretty much, Mark and Chris Hornbrook is how I base my whole style of playing drums off of, basically.
So that's exactly my point. What I was saying, if he likes the way that I play drums, so he plays and now he has his own style because he's mixing. What was the other drummer?
Chris Hornbrook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, Poison Well, God damn it.
Yeah, so good. And then my other biggest influence would be Levon Helm. So I could just sit there in a little pocket and just go all day, because if you listen to the band, it's just you're just chilling, and it's freaking great.
Yeah, if I sat and listened to drums that you wrote, I would probably hear a little bit of every one of those drummers.
Oh, 100%.
That's pretty amazing. For me, I'm not a musical guy, so I'm not listening to whatever. Let's Metallica and listening just for the guy that's drumming, and I'm not listening to just the guitar. I'm listening to it as a whole. So it's interesting that musicians or rock stars, you're listening to the drums and you're saying, "Oh, I can hear this guy's influence and this guy's influence." That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So So in terms of let's relate being a drummer back to hockey. Would you say that being a drummer is almost like being a goalie?
Well,
Just they just
I
kind
think being
of march to their own beat. They just kind of do their own thing.
I think being a goalie is worse.
Yeah, the goalies are the weirdest people. If you're the goalie, that's like that's like the drummer. You're like the weirdest drummer that no one really wants. Honestly,
It's not. I think it's more. It's probably more stressful than being a drummer. Like, yeah, if I stop playing drums, the whole band stops with me.
But yeah,
But if I let in 5 goals, that's 5 goals that now I'm making the rest of my team make up.
Yeah, like Halak yesterday.
But yeah, it always seems like there's rival. Like the drummers are kind of, I guess, kind of the outcast. Like when you think about a band in Ho, right? Like the drummer's just the drummer. Like he's out on the front lines, playing the guitar, or singing. He's just kind of in the back. Pictures. Yeah, and you don't really get the credit you deserve. It's the worst.
You're completely out of everything as the drummer.
Yeah, see, it's
I have maybe 10 pictures in my. How many years did I tour for? 20. I have maybe 10 pictures that I was like, oh shit, that's a really good drum picture. Where I don't look like I'm having some sort of weird stroke or my tongue's in my mouth or something like I.
Well, I mean, look at what you're doing. I mean, you basically like how do you get a good photo when you're just banging the shit out of things, right? Like, I mean, because all that banging comes out in everything, right? Like, I don't think you're ever going to get like a straight face, like, that would just be a weird. Like as a guy that photographs hockey, right?
Especially this guy, buddy. This guy's twirling his sticks. He's throwing his sticks 20 feet in the air, like jumping around back there. He's one of the sickest drummers to watch live.
Like what if you drop? Like what happens when you drop him? And like you said, if you stop, the band stops. Like what if you just?
Yeah. Oh, you really gotta work that out before you go for it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, hey.
So I have 6 sticks, 2 on my left, 2 in the middle, and 2 on the right.
Gotcha.
So no matter where I drop that stick, I can tell you. Once I let go of it, I know already if I'm catching it. So you'll see, like if you watch videos, sometimes you'll catch it. I'll pop a stick off my snare. And just by the look of it, I'm already grabbing for another stick because I'm not getting that one.
That's pretty. Okay, another question. Since we're talking about this and being on stage, here's something that I always wondered. You're the drummer or whatever, and you're on stage. You're in the middle of it, and you got to take a shit. What do you do?
Okay. Well, one time I was playing for Crossfade, and I went out for I think it was Brazilian barbecue. Beforehand, after a good workout with my buddy Ari, and I get on stage, we're playing the set. Halfway through the set, I'm like, oh, okay, I can make it. I'll make it just fine. And then we make it to the last song. The number one song this band plays, and we get to the end, the very end. I'm panicking. I'm in red alert. Usually we have this big drawn out I hold up a number on my hand, like 2 and a 4. That means 24. That means I'm going to hit the cymbals 24 times. You're going to hit your guitar 24, ba, 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 and just build it up to the end of the set. The only time I've ever literally said 1 to them. I held up my pointer finger, ba-da-da-da, bam, done, gone, off stage. I still have my in-ears in. I'm on the toilet, and I hear, what the hell just happened? Where did he go? And I came out, and I was just like, I'm sorry about that, but it was either I was going on my drum throne or I was going to make it to the toilet. I chose toilet.
That's a good choice.
As for on the road, I have zero anywhere. Pull over right here. I'm good here.
Hey,
no joke. My first tour when I was like 18, I would refuse to use the public bathroom. I did not go to take a shit for like 4 or 5 days. We got to like Colorado. Maybe it was like even more than that. And when we stayed, it was like Emmure and my bitter end staying in this girl's house, like in some tiny little apartment complex. And then like Frank destroyed the toilet, and then I destroyed the toilet. And this girl had to get like a plumber the next day. And I spent like mad money to get her plumbing fixed, like in her walls and shit.
Well, I have some rough guts. Okay, so
Right here, brother. Me too.
If in the morning, I base my morning around pooping.
Yep.
Because once I leave for work, I'm out of a toilet. So
What are you, construction now?
yeah,
Yeah.
I went back to construction. If you're lucky, you get a porta potty. But
That's
a
what
lot
I
of
figured.
job sites, a lot of them don't have them.
Oh,
But-
really?
So on the road, you wake up, you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes to the point where, hey, are we near a rest stop? No. Right here looks great. Just pull it over.
Yeah.
You're not shitting the bus.
I've been there
I have
so many
no
times.
shame.
Yeah.
I have no shame when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you do, because the shame is I either do this or I do it in my pants. So I'll be way more ashamed if I have to ride around with shit in my pants. And so when I got this RV, that was the big thing. Like, because I'm like that too. Like, I mean, there used to be a time when my guts were so messed up, like it would be 10, like I'd be on the road driving 10 minutes. I'd have to pull over. And for me, it's when I got to go, I got to go. I couldn't hold it for 5 days. I'd be screwed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that, honestly.
I can't hold
I
it.
felt so
sometimes
sick.
for
I didn't eat for
5
like 3 of
minutes.
those days though either.
Yeah, it's and so like to be riding around. I mean, basically the weird part about an RV is it's basically just a portable toilet, and it's really weird to me. I was thinking about this. I'm literally no more than 10 feet away from a pile of my shit anytime I'm on this RV, because it's in the tank. I'm riding around with it, but like you said, if I didn't have a toilet, this road trip would take so much longer because I'd have to plan my routes based on this. Now I just pull over to the side of the road and hop in the back, use the shitter, and continue on the road. So, but I was always curious, like, there has to be way more stories out there of bands that, whatever, you're on a big arena tour and you're in the middle of your set and you got to go. Maybe some guys are just like, you know what, I'll shit my pants. Maybe that's a rock star thing to do, to shit your pants.
I do know drummers have done that.
I just know people that have done that on stage that have shit their pants. A few people. 100%.
I've just been lucky enough where I don't get. I in my however many years, I have never had to do it.
but can you imagine? Like, what if you had to? Like, what if you had to shit your pants? Imagine what you're like he said, you're moving around, you're crazy, you're pretty eccentric behind the drums, and now you got to do that with loaded pants. Like that, it just doesn't seem like a good time.
Number one, I wouldn't tell anybody I did it because I usually wear black pants anyway when I play, or black shorts. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it a secret. If somebody finds out, my bad.
Well, or you tell it on a podcast. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, let's talk about this. I mean, just the music industry. Just in general. I mean, it seems like both you guys have been around and kind of understand the ins and outs of the industry. I obviously don't. But I mean, how has the music industry evolved? Like, you've been doing it for what, 20 plus years, right, Mark?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, how has it involved? I mean, you were part of some pretty big bands, it sounds like, and now are you retired, or are you just, because you're working construction now? Like, are you still touring, playing? Are you open to it, or? I'm
still in Bury Your Dead. Obviously nobody's playing shows right now.
Yeah.
But we had, we're all. I'm almost 40. I'll be 40 in two months, a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So there comes a time, when like, okay, well, and I had slowed down in a minute. I stopped touring for personal reasons,
Mm-hmm.
and it just happened to, things worked out. Things panned out a different way, and it is exactly what it is. I came home, moved in with my girl, and then my life just kind of took a right instead of going straight.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I'm into construction and all that. And Bury Your Dead still plays. We'll do like a week-long tour or 2-week-long tour, whatever we can all get off from work togetger, because
Gotcha.
Matt was a teacher. Now he sells Anderson windows. and I'm going to be honest with you. He's doing just fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you get those commission, baby.
Yeah, he is doing just fine.
Just killing it with.
That'll be better after the storm passes too this week.
Unreal. When he told me the difference in teaching to windows, I was like, I wish I didn't tattoo my neck.
So, but what?
That's
I
why
mean,
I'm catching fish at 4:00 in the morning, buddy. I catch it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
what about in terms of what he made touring? Like, is there money to be made in touring still, or do you have to really be one of those big mainstream artists that everyone hears about?
I mean, money's in the merch. If you really want to break it down, money's in the merch.
Yeah.
So if you have a good merch game and you're on a solid tour, making, you know, a good guarantee. If your merch sales are up, you'll be okay. I'm not saying you're going to make $100,000 a year.
Mhm.
A lot of bands do, but I was doing okay. Like Emmure was a gnarly merch band,
Yeah, ridiculous merch band.
and they had a good guarantee. So at the end of tours, nobody was complaining.
Mhm. When you
Nobody
say
had to go-
say guarantee,
nobody-
like what do you like? Guarantee per show or guarantee per the tour?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Guaranteed to play. Like what amount of money puts you on stage?
Gotcha.
You know.
And
So
there's other
nobody-
things that come with that too. If you're headlining, you'd get like a back end deal or such like that, like where there would be more
Right.
money to make on top of it.
But if you're in a bus, you're also using your guarantee to pay that bus, to pay for this, to pay for that gear. You know, but nobody was looking for jobs when we came home. We were comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it doesn't take much to make people comfortable. I mean, let's be honest. If you want to live a extravagant life, then yeah, you're gonna have to make more money. But none of us were living extravagant lives. Maybe Jesse with his racing.
Oh God, Jesse spends more on racing than I could spend in hockey in a lifetime in like 3
I think
weeks.
Jesse spends more on racing than I make in a year. But other than
Yeah,
that,
it's ridiculous.
good for him though. Like he found
He
his
loves it.
passion,
I
and now
know.
he's doing it. You know.
Yeah.
So
Wish I
I
could do
mean,
that.
money. When it comes to touring and money, don't expect to make money. But it's not out of the question to be comfortable.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it
It's
makes
like
perfect sense.
anything. You make out of it what you can and what you will. Honestly,
For sure. Yeah.
It's what you put into it. You're gonna get out.
For sure, and it's the same with hockey tournaments. I mean, like you said, like we make some money doing merch stuff. We make some money on the tournaments. We're not getting filthy rich. We're being comfortable life. Being able to pay the bills and take vacations with the family a couple times. But for the most part, basically the same. But do you miss touring?
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, me too.
Like
So
That's
much.
all I did. I'd be home. I'd be home a couple months a year. I would tour at least 9-10 months a year.
I had it where, because when Mark would tour, he'd be touring like in his band basically. But like when I would TM, like there's been times where one time Emmure ended a tour in November in Chicago. They were just hanging out at the Victory office, and then Recon was in Chicago on like the Acacia Strain's like first big headliner with Despised Icon. Like Acacia Strain, Despised Icon, Full Blown Chaos, Recon for half of it, Lygia for half of it, Tony Danza for half of it. And it was like, and I think Implosive Disgorgence opened up for a few shows in Florida, which is like the sickest death metal band that nobody knows about. But there was years that I was on tour for like, no joke, like 330 days, 340 days. Like when I was like 18, 19, I just kept jumping on, like if my friends were continuing and they were done, oh, we're going home, I just jump on the next tour I can jump on, jump on the next tour I can jump on, like all the time.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, not incriminating anyone, but when you're doing that many tours, and obviously as someone that's not one of those guys, you hear stories about how crazy, it's just a complete party crazy. Is that what this is?
It can be.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that your experiences?
I'll be honest. Towards the end, I just wanted to hang out with my friends and go to sleep.
Yep. Yeah, I feel you.
You do it for so long, you realize at some point, like, all right, I'm actually tired, so I'm going to go to sleep. And then I get up and go to the gym. We were living like this weird adult life, but doing a childhood dream. It's
yeah.
It's there's if you want to party, you party.
Yeah.
If you don't, you don't.
Got it.
Yeah, there's plenty of other things you can do besides just party. But I mean, who doesn't want
Absolutely.
to party once in a while?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the perception. I mean, the perception of being a rock star, right, is
Of course.
nonstop partying and that kind of stuff.
Of course.
What's the biggest crowd you ever played to?
Oh, I don't know how to explain that because I don't.
In just ballpark?
Did you get the fest like Empiricon Fest or something like that, or like Download Fest, or no?
Yeah, but Empiricon wasn't even as big as like oh geez, what was that fest out in Germany?
Download?
all-
No.
Well, John Nemeth was big too. I'm not even sure I can pronounce the name of the festival, but it was all circus tents, and it's just circus tents
What?
in this giant field, and then there's main stages. I heard there was like somewhere around 100,000 people in the general area at any given moment. But that could have been a blatant lie.
Yeah.
But there was a lot.
Yeah, there's a language barrier.
Yeah.
Like if you were walking somewhere, it took you a while to get there.
So what?
Because it was just people.
When you're on stage, with there's whatever 50, 100,000 people out there, what does that look like? What does it feel like? Like what?
Well, I can tell you, I've played in front of like 10 or 15,000 people. That I can comfortably say that.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks like a wave of people, and hopefully they're having fun because you feed off what they're doing.
Yeah.
If you got a crowd just standing still, dead staring you in the face, like yeah, I don't want to play anymore. But if people are having fun and everybody's, doing their own little thing and having a good time, it's a wave of people just having fun, and you ride off that wave.
Yeah. And is that part of your fun? Like, is that what you just love from touring?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If people are having fun, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
I could be in the worst pain of my life, but if you're having fun, I'm having fun. When we were in Europe, me and Recon Mike Recon.
Yeah.
Had apparently we got hand, foot, and mouth or something.
What?
Worst pain of our lives.
Did you ever hear of Jesse when he couldn't stand up on stage on the Misery Signals tour? It was like in the Fall Out Boy and Misery and like Ryan. It's like Ryan Brandon and Andy Hurley's like hometown show. And Jesse was having like some wicked backspin. I'm talking like I don't know how he played the set. He was basically back turned to the crowd, like sitting on a like bar stool, like crying, playing the songs. So like last night of this tour. I don't know how he got through.
Mark did that too. Mark destroyed his ankle and played behind the bass cap, staring at me the whole time.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that actually. He told me about that.
But when we went to Europe, and maybe someone on the flight or someone had it or something. I don't know how it happened, but I got it and Recon got it.
Oh,
and like
brutal.
2 days into the tour, I was like, "What is happening? Like, what is this feeling?" 6 days into the tour, I was wrapping my hands in duct tape just to play drums because every time I would hit the snare drum or any other drum, it was like, that feeling when your hand is waking up from being dead asleep?
Yeah. All
the time.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Did it swell and stuff too or no?
For days. No, I didn't swell. And I only really got it in my hands, but it was terrible. You're trying to play shows and play the way you normally play, but every stroke of my drumstick was just blinding pain. It was terrible.
That's
great. But
crazy.
you got to play. You're there to play. This is what you do. Everybody wants to hear you play, so you play. You do it the way you play, and then you go backstage and cry if you want to. It doesn't matter, but do your job and then get off stage.
Sounds like we're exploring the not so glamorous side of the of being a rock star.
Most of hardcore is not too glamorous.
Well, you know what's weird is that
you're eating Dorito sandwiches in a van with a bunch of dudes who haven't showered in 3 days. If you want to hear those stories,
those stories are. I've fought people over pizza pie, like no joke, over $10 worth of Domino's pizza on a ride or in a case of water. I've punched people in the face.
Oh my gosh.
No joke.
Hey, okay. I mean, I listen to some of your music. It's not something that I delve into. I definitely, respect the craft. But when I listen to the singers and kind of their vocal, like how do they keep their throats and their voice able to do that repeatedly? It seems like that would be hell on the vocal cords and such.
I mean, you don't.
Frank blew his voice out a long time ago. Like when when Goodbye to the Gallows came out, if you listen to that and then listen to everything after, like Frank started like really changing the way he did things because he was destroying his throat.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like too. And you're like, these guys have talent, they have this, but I mean, how long? I mean, How long
There's
can you do
plenty
it?
of guys, if you look through their careers going back, where like Meshuggah, like what, maybe like but right before Nothing, or like on Nothing, basically, he ends his voice popped, and it has never been the same ever since. Like a lot of guys who have like crazy screams, really. Matt's voice always sounded the same though, but Matt doesn't really. Matt, like, is, you could hear he's not like hurting himself when he does it. He's kind of just yelling at you.
Yeah.
Right, but you will notice if you're with him night after night, his voice slowly gets lower and lower. And
Oh
lower.
yeah, raspier.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then when he's talking in between songs, he goes from sweet Matt, like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And by the end of the week, it's just like, "All right, let's go out for pizza and whatever." I'm like, "Are you okay, dude?" Like,
Interesting. Well, I mean, since we talked a lot, about you, Mark, but I mean, let's switch over to John and kind of hear, what's the story on managing tours? Like, I mean, obviously I heard how you got into it, just all your buddies getting signed, and so you wanting to be around, and you kind of started, I guess, in merch, and then just said, you know what, I'll manage the tour. Like, what does that look like? What does a tour manager do?
I'm going to say one thing before you go. Before you go, John, I want to say one thing. I think the tour manager has the hardest job of any slot in a band.
Oh yeah. You're basically in charge of a debacle, and try to keep the debacle from becoming a giant debacle, and just like a debacle that you can handle, like throughout the time you're on the road, basically. If I had to sum it up. But you're basically responsible for everything because nobody else will be. And, every penny coming in and out on the road, you have to be responsible for. Every expense, like advancing the show, like talking to every promoter before the show, confirming everything for loading in, and like just set times and like sound checks, and like what's around the venue, and like making itineraries. And it's a lot of little bitch work, honestly. If you ever watch Metalocalypse, basically the guy in the suit that like is just telling everybody what to do is like what you are as a tour manager. And like I only got into it because when Emmure started blowing up, like I was doing merch basically, and then we started going on really sick tours. So like we'd be like on the first slot, second slot on a tour, but then like say Misery Signals is headlining, and I go out with Adam Capps for a month, and it's just like, what a freaking like guy to learn so much from, like just hang out with, maybe smoke a bowl or two here and there, and just like pick his brain, like just. And then like every tour, like there'd be like a couple of different guys that I just like kind of pick their brains. And then like Jesse at that point was pretty much doing everything, and Mark was doing a little bit too, and they were just at the point where it's like, well, we want to be rock stars, so Big John, you do this. And then basically it was like, get your laptop out, start calling everybody, make sure we don't waste all our money. And then it basically turned into like every 2 days, Ben and Joe Lionetti saying, "Oh, we lost our toiletries, I need 3 days per diem advance, take it out of band money, let's go." And then that's what it just turns into a shit show. You got to let it not turn into a shit show, basically.
Well, it's not even that. It's if there's any problem,
anything.
You're not calling the drummer or the guitarist.
Yeah.
You're calling the tour manager. And if anybody in the band has a problem, all right, we'll ask John.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, why isn't this person on my guest list? Oh man, I'm setting up something backstage. I got to get waters over here. I got to go. Somebody's mom's coming over here, but like, somebody's girlfriend can't get to the front, and you're doing 50 things at once while the promoter's running around, like making sure that everything's staying on time with the show. It's just like there's so much involved. Like as like bands get bigger, like I mean, I'd say the biggest tour that I TM'd was, what was the last headliner that Emmure did? Damn, probably the last tour that I TM'd was like 2009 or something like that. And then I did like a bunch of like Enwell Shy Halud stuff, which was like all smaller, and that was a lot less stressful than freaking House of Blues. And were you Mark? Were you in when Jesse destroyed the backstage at House of Blues, or is that?
No.
I was never
in the band when you were managing.
No, I never. Yeah, you started touring with them after. No, I didn't do any tours with you at all.
We had Blake.
Yeah, you always had John Blake.
Right.
And after I did it, I think it was Tourman Dan after me, right? Dan Robin, maybe.
I remember
Mosh Lives, maybe, was the first tour he did with them, and that was the one that he did after I went on that ACHA Strain tour and didn't go on tour with Emmure again.
it could have been. In my life is kind of a blur, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like tour manager, I mean, has basically not only all the duties, but also kind of a glorified babysitter as well for the band.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, you are the babysitter.
Yeah. And then you always get fucked with the most. I'm not going to lie. Like the pranks and shit that people pulled would always be like on me. Like I'm the one who always got fucked with. And I guess I was also one of the youngest always, like with most of my friends, but still, like I got like my eyebrows shaved off. I got my head shaved. Like I one time hooked up with like this ugly girl when I was like 17, and like somebody printed all these pictures of her off my computer and posted them all over the backstage and shit like that.
Oh my God.
Well,
so many crazy shit.
Well, my next question was, I mean, maybe it sounds like you didn't, but did you ever get a chance to just enjoy being on the road, or was it just so busy, or were you always getting
No,
pranked?
100%. As soon as we got out of the venue, or we were staying somewhere for the night, or like we would be partying, like I'd be doing everything. Like if I didn't have a driving shift or something like that, I'd be hanging out.
Well,
once business is done and your job is done, and like, you know, everybody's in the rig, everything's loaded up, everything's taken care of with the show, and you have nothing to worry about until tomorrow, like 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning when you start rolling again.
Mhm.
It's party time.
Well, you guys have kind of made me rethink my dream of being a rock star as a kid. So how about?
I mean, there's good things.
Yeah, that's what that's what I'm going to go. Like, give me a story that's going to make me jealous that I'm not a rock star.
I partied with Jada and Will Smith for.
I was going to ask you about that. I always
Okay.
see that picture of you with like Will Smith and Jada, and like your dad maybe or something.
Yeah, that was my dad.
Okay.
Well, Jada was in a band, and I don't remember the tour. I really don't remember.
Was it
the tour.
Ozfest or something, or no?
I don't think it was
Wicked Wisdom.
It was Wicked Wisdom. I just don't remember the name of the tour, but they were on it, and somehow we became friends. And they threw a barbecue like 3 or 4 times a week, it feels like. And Will would fly in on the weekends with the kids, and everybody would just hang out. And by the end of the tour, it was just Will and Jada. It was no longer like Will and Jada both sang "Bury Your Fucking Dead."
Really?
On stage.
Whoa.
No shit. Is there videos of that?
There's a YouTube video of it, and you can't. It was back when flip phones were cameras, you know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Motorola
So
V360.
potato.
You hear Jada and Will, but you can't see it. But that was like the first time I was like, what is going on? I don't understand what my life is. I'm hanging out with the Fresh Prince and his wife, and we're just hanging out, and like my family's meeting him, and everybody, like, hey, this is Will. What? Like,
that is. Who's the biggest, probably the most mainstream biggest band you've opened for?
Oh,
I mean, on those fests, didn't you get like some like friggin' Iron Maiden on some of those fests and stuff, and like.
Yeah, but I mean, we played with like, you know, Ozzy and Korn and Deftones and all that. But if you want to go like rock, when I was in Crossfade, we opened for like Buck Cherry and Papa Roach, and
Nice.
we were on that tour for like a month and a half, and that was all arena shit. It was unreal.
Well, okay. Well, the reason I asked that is because you said Ozzy. You opened for Ozzy. Like, did you ever get to party with Ozzy?
No.
That's my question. My question is, do guys like that still party with all the bands? And how?
Well, I don't think Ozzy parties, but I will say, back when Korn was partying, they hung out with us. The Deftones all hang out. It's just when you're on a tour that big, everybody at the end of the night, come 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, there's only one place to hang out, the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all the buses
Just like
are.
Rockstars, same thing.
Right. And then everybody, 2 weeks in, everybody knows each other. Everybody hangs out together. It is a summertime band camp, basically, that travels city to city, and it's amazing. It's the best. When we would get tours like that, I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to hang out at night. Because it's just such a good time. It's crazy. You're hanging out with people in bands that you've been listening to since you were nothing. You know, you never thought you'd be touring with them, and now I'm sharing. I got a tap on the shoulder, and Chino took a bite of my hamburger. What's happening right now?
What? That's sick.
It's crazy.
So,
It's crazy. And I also met my girlfriend on that exact tour. I was borderline blackout. Yeah. And I saw a hot girl in the parking lot, and I screamed at her, and it was her. and she came and hung out, and I tried my hardest to just get her attention. I gave her passes. I was like, yeah, we'll go watch the Deftones together. Nope, she bounced and left without me.
Joke's on her. You got the last laugh.
Yeah, and then we kept in contact for like 10 years. Things just lined up, and now she's stuck with me.
Well, who, like, if you were maybe your biggest inspiration in music that you haven't gotten a chance to be on a tour with, like, what would be the ideal tour for you to play in? Like, what would be the lineup?
Oh, that's going to be a very broad spectrum of bands.
Okay, let's say top 5.
Well, everybody loves Meshuggah. I'd say I'd do a Deftones again. I'd say I'd do a Korn again. Heaviest band I've ever seen live, Korn. I don't care what anybody says. It's the heaviest band I've ever seen live. Sonically, is that the word I'm looking for?
That's the word you're looking for, sonically.
Sonically, it's emotional how heavy they are when you see them. You're sitting there going, like, how do you sound like this? How does this happen? How does this come out of the things on the ceiling that make noise? My taste in music has changed so much. It's crazy over the years. If you asked me this 10 years ago, I would have answered everything totally different. But now I appreciate sounds and tones and stuff like that. So Meshuggah, Korn, Deftones. I want to be on that tour. Put me on that tour. Gojira. Put me on that tour.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that's so sick.
All right, John.
4 bands.
Before we move...
Meshuggah, Gojira, Korn, Deftones. I want to be on that one.
That sounds
go ahead,
like a
John.
hell of a tour. John, yeah, before we go to hockey, let's get your lineup here.
All right, well, this sucks because, like, I was 100% going to pick Deftones, and I was 100% going to pick Meshuggah because Deftones are my favorite band of all time. So if this is like a band that my band would be opening for this tour, basically, I would do like a Korn headline, Deftones, actually probably Pantera headline, Korn, Deftones, Bury Your Dead, Drones. Just because I literally came out of I saw Bury Your Dead. What was that show you played in Brooklyn, where Jesse from Killswitch was there at that little bar? When was that? A couple months ago, like last year?
A couple months ago, dude. We've been in pandemic mode for a couple months.
Yeah, like last year. Then I don't know.
It had to be winter because Matt wasn't working.
No, yeah, Matt was, yes. But anyway, I broke my thumb that night because as typical me, like, if I'm going to dance, I'm going to be a dick, and I like to go around the edge of where everybody's standing, trying not to get hit, and then kick my feet up as high as I can. So, like, I slipped and landed on my thumb and bent my thumb back. So I'm a big doof. And I broke my thumb the last time I saw Bury Your Dead.
Dude, that was such a good. I did not.
I love it. Jesse Leach going off is crazy. Recon was trying to get me to go on stage and play the last song, but I can't strum a righty guitar or lefty, even though it's just open. It's like I can't do it.
I looked up and just saw Jesse on top of everybody. I was like, this is such a cool night.
Yeah, that was so sick. I actually never got to see original lineup. Well, like Cover Your Tracks lineup, Bury Your Dead.
No.
I think the first time I met you guys, I'm pretty sure I was with Emmure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was New England Metal Fest, the one where maybe Motorhead headlined. You guys played that, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Mike Terry was in the band then, right?
That's a good possibility.
Yeah, so I think I met you guys then. I think Eric was still in the band. I think it was everybody except for Matt. And I think that was the first time I saw you guys. And then maybe saw you like 2 other times after that. And then when Matt came back, I think I saw you guys somewhere as well. But yeah, I never got to see Bury Your Dead in the heyday. I was really tight about it because I was always on tour and we just, for some reason, didn't really play with you guys that much.
Yeah.
Emmure got no love back in the day from anyone in New England.
If you saw Bury Your Dead every 5 years, it was basically new faces for the most part.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, I meant to ask you, like, he was asking before about, like, you know, stopping playing and everything like that. When Matt got hit with the guitar, nobody stopped, right, on the Alive DVD? Everybody just kept going the whole time?
I didn't know what happened.
And same thing when Frankie got shocked, nobody stopped. I was watching that video, and you're just fucking ripping. I'm just like, dude, this kid's dead on the friggin' stage.
You know, if you watch the video of Frankie getting shocked,
yeah,
you see him go down, okay? And I'm like, all right, whatever. He tripped. No big deal. He's not getting up. If I stop playing, my click track keeps going. So I was mentally confused. Like, I'll sit back down and keep playing. So I kept playing just in case he got back up. Then I realized, all right, this is done. And then I got off, and you'll see me push my cymbals out of the way to see if he was all right.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing I ever saw. Don't go to Russia.
Yeah, I don't.
Actually, some of the sickest shows I've ever played were in Russia. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh my God, they're so good.
Hey, listen,
Wow.
I'm going to tell you, I want to go to Russia only because, like, obviously I've been hosting hockey tournaments for a long time now. And I was doing another podcast that was just about beer league, and that's all. And I would always have offers, hey, you know, come out, promote our tournament. And this old boy from Russia contacted me and said, hey, I want to bring you out. It's our holiday tournament here. I can't remember where it was in Russia, probably the capital of Russia. I don't know, but he started sending me Leningrad is actually where it was. He started sending me videos of all this stuff that happens, and it was like you play your game. Obviously, all the vodka's included, but in between games, like there's strippers in the locker room, and he just sent me this whole video, and he's like, "Can you post this video to promote our tournament?" And I'm like, "Whoa." I don't think I'm allowed to post this on our social media channel because it's just a bunch of nude chicks walking around pouring vodka in hockey players' face, which sounds really rad. I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, when is this tournament? Sign me and Mark up.
It's a holiday one, man. You know, so I don't know. But yeah, so I the only reason that I ever wanted to go to Russia was because of that. I'm like, that seems like a fun way to play hockey. But transitioning to hockey.
We're going to transition. I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go to hockey or what? Or you're ready to leave?
I was so afraid to go to Russia when we first were like going and getting there.
Yeah, what's the first year you went there, Mark?
It was so sketchy, dude.
What year?
2000. It had to be 08, 09.
Oh, wow. All right.
And we got there, and I was like, okay. What now? Because it was a whole new world to me. I literally couldn't understand anybody because they're Russian, obviously. Yeah. And like the ways of travel were so weird. You're on trains, you're in vans with a driver who doesn't speak English, and you're staying at people's houses and stuff like that.
Really?
And it's just like, okay, I'm a little freaked out. But let's screw it. We all got tattooed. We had a good time. The second time we went back, total different world again. We flew in. We had an English speaking, just a guy who would guide us around, a guide. Okay. And it was a total different world. And then the third time I went, it was like, oh, this is the best. You know, everything is, you know, it slowly got better and better, but it went from a place where I was like afraid to go. I was literally afraid to go there to a place that I would love to keep going to. But let's transition to hockey.
Well, I mean, let's go to a stripper hockey tournament over there.
My girlfriend will lose her mind.
Well, I mean, listen.
I mean, we could just play hockey and just, be good at hockey.
It's just like when you tell your wife, I'm going to play hockey to get exercise. We know we're going to drink beer with the boys. We're not.
Well, my girlfriend wants
to
come. Does that change anything?
I mean, hey, wags are cool. I mean, doesn't matter to me either way. I mean, if she's okay with what goes on at hockey tournament, she's okay. That doesn't, you know.
I'm playing a tournament in Dallas on October 1st through 4th. It's like a fire department PD thing. I'm going with the NYPD detectives team to play. I'm obviously not a police officer, but a couple of my friends are on the team.
You're a ringer? Is that what you're saying?
I might or might not be. I mean, there's a guy that's way, way better than me who played in the coast that's coming down too. I mean, he's the ringer, not me.
So ACHA Div 2 hockey, John, whereabouts?
Yeah. I played at Long Island University. It used to be called CW Post. Now it's LIU Post actually they just transitioned this year to actually last year they turned to NCAA D1 for all their sports. It was a D2 school all around.
Mm-hmm.
Now they had women's hockey last year, NCAA women's hockey. First season that the team existed, they won the championship for their division.
Oh, nice.
Then now it was the Pioneers when I went, the post Pioneers, but now it's the LIU Sharks.
Okay.
And this year coming up, I don't know if it's going to be pushed back, obviously, because of COVID, but there is a NCAA D1 men's team now as well. So it's like the same as like LIU, like the basketball team that went to like the Sweet 16 the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
The LIU Blackbirds is the Brooklyn campus, and then I went to Post, the Long Island campus.
That's pretty rad. And
it
Mark,
was club when I went.
Okay, Mark, what's your hockey playing background?
One more time, sorry, I didn't hear you.
What's your hockey playing background?
Well, I grew up playing many sports. Hockey, football, baseball, soccer. Never got into lacrosse. But hockey came in sometime around probably 8 or 9. My dad started taking me to like an open hockey thing. You were just playing with other kids, and there was adults. Yeah, there was literally adults like, what are you doing? Do you want to join a team? Stuff like that. And then, you give your information to them, and sooner or later you play hockey for them. But then I never played on like official teams when I was older. It was always just throw together, rent rinks, and 30 people show up and we all play hockey. And then now later in life, I joined the Connecticut Hockey League, the CTHL, with a bunch of my friends that also bowl. So
yeah, Mark's a filthy bowler. Like, Mark's probably the best bowler like that I know from all accounts of everybody. Like, this guy's a filthy bowler. Yeah.
I thought when you said that, you might have heard one of my other podcasts where I talked about my bowling career and how I got kicked off the family bowling team because I was so bad. And I thought you were just giving me shit when you said Mark was a bowler.
No, he's filthy.
My job before going back to construction, I was a pro shop tech. So all I did was bowl and drill balls and coach and stuff like that.
Were you a gear whore in bowling too?
Was that what?
Like, John said you were a gear whore. Did you for me that goes across everything.
I was endorsed by literally the best bowling company out there. I was one of their bowlers.
Who?
It was a company called Storm.
Okay, I know Storm. I was actually a lane one guy myself. I just like the balls.
Well, lane one was basically 900 Global.
Okay.
Same company. They were owned. I was on 900 Global first, and Storm owns 900 Global. And at one point, I just switched over.
Gotcha.
So I'm still technically an endorsed Storm bowler, but bowling is not really a thing right now.
Yeah, well.
But when the bowling alley closed, when the pandemic hit, I was like, all right, I got to do something. I went back to construction. And in the long term, I love working, with all my people at the bowling alley, whatever. But in the long term, construction is going to pan out better for me. As selfish as that sounds, I have to kind of look out for me right now. Yeah. So I still bowl, but I'm a construction guy.
Do you think bowling's a dying sport?
I actually, before the pandemic, it was coming back so hard.
Really?
And now I feel like the pandemic just crushed it.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like bowling died once you couldn't smoke indoors anymore.
That might be true as well. I started smoking at the bowling alley I worked at.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a ton of time growing up at the bowling alley. Like my mom and dad, they literally got engaged at the bowling alley, and so a lot of my childhood was like running around these bowling alleys playing arcade games while my dad and mom bowled in their leagues, and they used to be packed. Like every night, it was just packed bowling alley. Yeah. And then like as an adult, my dad was like, "Oh, we should start a bowling team," and I'm horrible at bowling, and but. So we did, but it wasn't ever packed, and so I always thought, well, maybe bowling's just a dying sport. But yeah, okay.
I mean, our leagues were packed. We'd have hundreds of people any given night on league night. So I mean, it was there.
Yeah, just in the pandemic, that son of a bitch.
I suck at bowling. I need bumpers.
We haven't talked about hockey at all.
No, but
Yeah.
we're getting there. We're getting there. Hey, what? You're a Philly guy. What's your favorite cheesesteak place?
My favorite cheesesteak place.
Yeah, like it seems like
Oh,
that's Philly guys always argue about that shit. So I'm just curious.
It's been so long I wouldn't be able to tell you because there's new places that have opened. But let's talk about the more important question.
Yeah, let's talk about hockey.
Whiz or no whiz?
Oh, I'm Whiz Wit for sure.
Cheese whiz.
I'm no whiz. I'm provolone.
So, hey, everyone
What
has
do
their
you think?
opinion.
I don't like whiz. I go provolone.
And you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
Even if it's wrong.
Yeah,
right?
I don't like that fake cheese that comes out of a can. I think it's gross.
I'm a whiz guy, but
Me too.
if there's no whiz available, I'll take the pasta sauce, the red sauce.
Really?
That's I'd probably
I
go
said it.
provolone before
I don't
pasta
regret it.
sauce, I think. But I also had one last time I was in Philly that had bacon on the cheesesteak, and that
Hello?
was hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Did I
Hello?
lose you guys?
No,
No, I hear you.
I feel like I'm losing people.
No, I think
I
we're
hear
all
you.
here.
All right.
All right. Okay. Now let's transition into
So let's
hockey.
do hockey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we already got John, ACHA Div 2 player. He could actually say he played hockey at a Div 1 school because they're Div 1 now. And then
I'm not going to say that.
So tell me a little bit about your leagues out east. Like I've been in the adult hockey industry for probably the last 7 or 8 years of my life. I worked for a company that we ran one of the largest leagues in Western Canada, and then we did tournaments all over. And now I predominantly do tournaments and hockey predominantly, but we're going to have some ball tournaments and we're going to have some softball tournaments, and hell, maybe we'll get some bowling tournaments going. Maybe even combine them with music festivals. See?
I don't know much about the Connecticut leagues, but for Long Island, there's basically like 3 major leagues in Long Island. There's the Midnight Hockey League, which is like the biggest, has the most teams and everything. It's been around the longest. Then there's Hockey Long Island, which I would say I referee in these leagues as well as playing them. So I would say Hockey Long Island is a more competitive league with there's some more pro guys and stuff. But reffing them is a shit show because everybody's an asshole.
Yep.
And then there's the Premier Hockey League, which is like a newer league that popped up over the last couple of years. They're doing things.
Hello.
You hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
We can still hear him.
I hear you. Can you hear me, Mark?
Maybe we lost Mark.
We might have lost Mark.
Well, that's a shame. That's a shame if that. Should we try to call him back here?
Yeah, you want to add him back on?
Well, he still shows up as in my in the call, so I can't really call
Hello?
him back. Hello?
Oh, there he is. You hear us?
Hello.
Hello?
Mark. Hola.
You guys hear me?
Oh, yeah,
I hear you.
we can hear you.
He doesn't hear us.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I mean, I don't think it's anything on
Did
my
we lose
end.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to have to get edited out. Damn.
No, I mean, editing, whatever. I mean,
You want to try and recall him or something?
Yeah,
connect him and call him?
yeah. If you want to text him and tell him to hang up, and then I'll try to call him
Yeah,
back.
hold on. I'll text him right now.
Hello.
Hello?
Yo.
Mark, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. We
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, jeez. I just literally walked around my house until I found a spot that worked. We have bad storms happening right now. So who knows what's
That's
happening.
no big deal. No big
Yeah,
deal.
I'm not seeing it yet. I'm surprised. But as I was saying, I was talking about the leagues in Long Island, Mark. Basically, there's 3 leagues. There's Midnight Hockey, which is the biggest, most people play in. Hockey Long Island, more competitive, bunch of assholes in it. And then Premier League is the new league that's kind of doing things. He's going national. He's trying to get in rinks, and I applaud Sean for doing what he's doing. It's good.
Yep.
But I run a team in the Midnight Hockey League. I play on I play on teams in every division in Midnight Hockey. I play on a couple of Premier teams here and there, and I also ref in those leagues as well. But obviously with COVID, we've been shut down. So I haven't, from March 10th until maybe a month and a half ago, I didn't skate. I got wind of a skate in Jersey that was going on. And then I started driving to Jersey from Long Island, 2 hours into New Jersey, through traffic through the city into Montclair, North Jersey, and doing a skate with these dudes that actually everybody was sick. It was a great skate. I looked like shit the first skate. And then the second one, I started getting it back. And then now I feel all right when I'm out there. But it's real nice to be out there. It sucked the whole COVID. I know Mark's been playing this whole time in like league games. I don't understand how he's got games going on already.
Yeah,
I
Mark.
haven't played the whole time. I'm like 6 games back.
Yeah, I'm saying we're not allowed to. I rent the rink out at the rink I rent, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but they basically tell us that we're only each supposed to have our own puck and like be doing drills. But I mean, we scrimmage the whole time. No one says anything. But like, it's still like they're not letting us even remotely have games at all.
Yeah,
in New York.
New York is crazy, and like we were actually supposed to be next weekend. I was supposed to be in Buffalo for our draft experience, and they like it's so weird because no one really knows the rules, and like they're like, oh, I don't know if we can have this tournament. I'm like, okay, well, I have a lot of buddies in the area, like they're playing, like they're doing private events and they're playing, and he's like, well, if they can, then we should be able to. And I'm like, okay, so can I say we're doing this tournament? He's like, I don't know, we should be able to. And so I'm like, okay, well, like I can't.
Typical New York.
Yeah, like I can't trust driving 24 hours from Denver to Buffalo, we should be able to. And so it's been quite the mess. It's really weird, like the hit or miss, because I mean we've been doing in Calgary where I live now. They just started playing July 1st. Places like Denver have been playing almost the whole time, right? And so it's so weird, so hit and miss, and the different rules and all that stuff, and like all the changes we've had to do just to make these tournaments happen. Like we had to cut it down to only having 52 people, do outside, like we make our teams by beer chugging contest, and so you don't know your team when you come, and so we've had to move that outside. Really? Yeah, it's a pretty.
You have to chug a beer. What if you're straight edge?
Well, we ginger ale, if we really need to.
What if you're keto and you can't have any of it? Chug water.
We figure out something. I guess, is there carb-free wine? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean it's insane. Like we have a good time, and it's just a different experience. And I mean we've had a lot of success. Our first, let's see, this weekend in Denver will be our third one since we did one the weekend before they shut everything down, and now this will be our third one in the last I guess 6 weeks now, and all 3 of them sold out. People are having a blast. So I was really hoping to come to Buffalo, mainly just so I could drink ranch dressing in front of all the Buffalo people that say that they'll kick me out if I do that. But so I mean, hockey it's funny you guys were mentioning like the parties during the band times. It's like a big parking lot party, and
I had when I played hockey in college. The parties that we had on campus and the shenanigans that we did, like on our bus trips to games and stuff like that, were rivaled pretty much anything I ever did on tour.
Oh, really? Well,
like, I mean, easily.
That's what I was kind of getting at. Like there are parallels, right? Like hockey is hockey's almost like the rock star athlete, right?
The better thing about playing college hockey and being on tour is you're not the tour manager. You're actually the one that everybody's watching.
Yeah, but now look what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now you're tour managing your team.
Thing.
Yeah.
So, but
I never played hockey in school, so I don't know anything about that.
Well, me neither.
I took I had my sophomore year. I got hurt like the last game of what is it, the fall semester, like the first semester. I got hurt like the last game before like the holiday break. I separated my shoulder pretty bad. I got hit from behind against Fordham. So that was like in December. So on that summer, I went on the full Warp Tour, like 2015. So I took my equipment with me, and like I was trying to rehab my shoulder, and I was like, oh, I'm going to play as much as I can. I'm going to work out and do all this stuff. And basically I played like 6 times and ate catering like 5 times a day and then slept. Exact opposite. But I got into some fantastic skates across the country. I played in some of the coolest rinks. Like we had 2 days in Pomona, like for the first day. Mark, you did Warped like a couple times, right?
Once.
Okay. So like, like the production day, the first day, like in Pomona or whatever. So you go there, you're there like a couple days early basically for production and all that stuff. So I found this rink in Ontario. I went like 2 nights in a row, I think it was, in Ontario, played like pickup. The next day, I think it was San Diego or something like that. I think I played like the first week I played like 4 times. And then I didn't play for like 2 weeks. And then I think I played like again in Arizona, and then like randomly in like, Cairo, Indiana, and then like I had a homie in Detroit who took me to a rink. Shout out Charlie. And then where was it? Like Denver, I played, or Fort Collins, somewhere in Washington, somewhere in Texas, in like a Dallas Stars facility. I think in San Antonio though. It was sick. Like that was my favorite tour that I ever did because I played hockey and I made so many. You talk about like, you know, like hockey and like music. You want to see a link like that year on Warped Tour. It was like the year like everybody just seemed to be getting into hockey. Like everybody in every band was just all about hockey all of a sudden, and we had like legit street hockey teams. Like a lot of people had equipment. Like I wasn't the only one who had full equipment. Bo from Blessed to Fall played junior, I think either junior A or junior B in Canada and in California where he grew up, and he's filthy at hockey. Like absolute stud hockey player. I couldn't believe it when I was on the ice with this guy, how good he was. And we had like street hockey teams where it would be like all these different bands had like a bunch of dudes that played. Like you're from Canada, right, Nick? So I don't know if you,
I'm from Oklahoma, but I live in Canada.
Oh, you live in Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard of the band Silverstein. They're from Toronto. Paul, their guitar player, played like Narch roller hockey, filthy hands, like sick hockey player. This band, Mark, do you know Paris? They're from Boston area.
I know who they are.
Maddie lost her word is their manager. Like, so they were like, my hockey team was like guitar player, Paris, Paul, Mark, me, some tall kid from Seaway, I forgot his name, and we like literally dominated. We went like 10-0 in this tournament and just smoked everybody. It was sick. But we had like a Warped Tour like street hockey tournament that went on like the whole time basically.
That's nuts.
It was the sickest.
Crazy. Do you want to hear the story about a time a pretty I guess when I say famous, but he was a drummer that tried to big time me about playing hockey?
Who's that?
I don't know his name, but he was the drummer for Goldfinger.
Oh, yeah, I know listen to it.
Okay, yeah.
I know who they are.
Yeah,
I know that one song they had.
Yeah, 99 Red Balloons. That's the only song I know him too. But they it wasn't him. So to be fair, it wasn't him that messaged me. But the guy was like, "Oh, I guess it was his manager or whatever." It was like, "Hey, yeah, I wanna check about coming to one of your tournaments." I'm like, "Cool, let's get registered." He's like, "Yeah, no, it's actually my boss. He's the drummer for Goldfinger. You might know him." And I was like, actually, no, I don't even know that band. He's like, oh, 99 Red Balloons. I'm like, okay, I know that, but I don't know him. He's like, oh yeah, he's a huge hockey fan.
They covered that. They didn't write.
Yeah, okay. Well, he wants to come play your tournament. And I'm like, okay, rad. Let's get him signed up. Here's the sign up link. And he's like, oh, you want him to pay that the registration? I'm like, well, yeah, you got to sign up. He's like, oh no, you'd have to pay for his spot. And he'd come and he'd help promote your tournament. And you'd have to pay for his lodging and his accommodation and getting him there. And I'm like, bitch, I don't even know who your boss is, bud. And he's like, well, that's the only way he's going to come play in your tournament. And I'm like, all right, well, you can just tell him to FO then, bud. So that's the time I tried to get big timed by the Goldfingers drummer. No, I'm not throwing him under the bus because it could have just been his boss trying to get him a deal. I don't know, but that is what happened.
Yeah, John is the bigger, for sure, hockey player. I have been you play hockey with your friends since I was young, but I'm
still trying to get the invite to come play in the league, bud. I'm still waiting. I'll drive up there.
I'll
play down. I'll play to the level. I won't like fucking.
I am
spoken like a true ringer
and a sub. So I'm on a team, and if somebody needs somebody, they call me as well. But our team is like the Bad News Bears, man.
The best.
And we show up.
I love it,
knowing we're not going to win. But we have a damn good time trying.
That's the point of beer league. Like that is the entire
point. You
want
to hear beer league? We went into 2 championships in a row. Basically, the Killer Bee is the team I run. We basically finished like first or second in our division like every season. We usually go to the playoffs or the championship round. We went to the championship 2 seasons in a row. All right, the first one it was the year that Pink Whitney's came out. So I brought like 3 bottles in the locker room. Not that much, just a little bit. I was like, all right, boys, just take a little swig. We'll go out on the ice. Our goalie, down 3/4 of a fucking bottle, gets on the ice, lets in 10 goals or something like that. Just shit the bed like you wouldn't believe. We're all just looking around like he's literally falling in the crease. Lost the championship. Go to the championship the next season, like whatever, 10 weeks later, however long our season is. We're up 7-1 to start the second period. Everybody just sits on their ass, and we lose like 11-9. Like,
it sounds normal.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about. So your goalie had to get completely blackout drunk to let in 10 goals. That's just my goalie every time I play. So
yeah.
But no, I mean, I think like what you were saying, like the link between hockey and music is crazy, and I was trying to say, like, I do think hockey players are like the rock star athletes in terms of they have that party hard mentality. You guys were talking about playing your sets through injuries. Hockey's kind of the same. You don't tell people you're hurt. You just go out and play. And so there are definitely a lot of things. And so now, like I said, you guys gave me kind of the bad stories and made me rethink maybe being a rock star as a kid. But the dream isn't dead. Now I think I need to plan a tournament where we play hockey, but then there's also like a concert going on in the parking lot in a tent. And then
that'd be sick.
I'm not.
Well, you know how I explain touring to anybody who asks me, it's the best, worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed.
Same thing.
Literally.
Same thing
It's
with
the
this RV trip.
Best thing I've ever done in my life, but some of the worst experience of my life have been through touring.
Yeah.
So it's the best, worst thing you've ever done. I don't regret a second of it. But, people, it must be so good just touring all the time. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You've never watched a funeral from a bus on the way to the airport to Brazil. You've never done that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's some terrible shit, almost dying in a van flip. I mean, you travel that much, you're going to get in an accident.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yep.
But some of the best things I've ever had, like I said, you meet people that you never expect to meet. You tour with bands you never expect to be around. You see places you never dreamed you were going to see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the best, worst thing that's ever happened.
And you wouldn't trade it.
No, not for anything.
No, there's nothing worth trading it for.
All right, boys. Well, I mean, we've covered a lot of things today. Not much hockey, but that happens.
I did not cover. I don't think I covered any hockey, but
Yeah.
it's okay. I will say, I would have played more this since the pandemic, but the system went down in the rink that it's been exceptionally hot here, and they have 3 rinks. They were trying the first game back. It was so foggy you couldn't see the goalie.
Oh.
Really?
Either side, right? For the
Wow.
first period and a half, you could have had anybody down there. It could have been no net. You would have never known. But
Wow.
the system went down. It
That's
fried it. So all our games got moved to a different house, and they had to spread them out. So we went 1 game, then 4 weeks, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now we're on a 2-week. Usually it's every week you play, but this pandemic is and the heat, and the storms, and it's been a bad year.
Yeah, just everything.
Well, Mark, if you want to come down to Long Island on Sunday, I got ice at 7:15 right over the bridge. So if you want to
on
come
Sunday?
down, I got a spot for you if you want to come.
Yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. The day before work, I'm.
Yeah, I get up at 3, Freddie. I get up at 3:15 every morning. Go catch fish.
Yeah, I get up after you. I won't lie to you. I get up at 4.
Oh yeah, you still get up early. Trust me, I know the grind. I know.
Yeah, I know you know that. You're up. You're up before it's light out.
Dude, it's great. I hate my life every day.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. I get home at like 10:30. I'm just chilling. I'm like, all right.
Yep. See? It's not that.
All right,
There's
boys.
always a silver lining.
Nick, you're bringing that, bringing it back to like the music and the hockey and everything,
Yep.
combining. Oddly enough, in the league that I play in, on my team alone, okay, I only got on my team because I toured with this band called The Dies Today back in 2007, and
Sick
their
band.
bass player, one of my favorite bands of all time. And honestly, did you tour with them at all, Mark, or no?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, the best group of dudes to tour with. Nick Brooks wasn't in the band when I toured with them, though. It was the guy that replaced. It was the first tour without Nick that I did with them.
Drummer,
But, like,
drummer Nick?
No, singer Nick. No, Nick.
Oh,
Nick Marusso's always been. But
Yeah.
Capelli, Lemke, Hadalac, Nick took some of the greatest guys I ever toured with in my life, especially Capelli, like the best. But Lemke was from Long Island, their bass player, Steve Lemke. And when I was home, I would talk to him because we both live in Long Island. He was like, oh, my team needs a guy tonight. So, like, I ended up going down and, like, filling in on his team before he moved back to Buffalo. Like, basically, I've been playing with them for, like, I don't know, 6 years or more, probably more, before I was in college. And
That's sick.
eventually I ended up taking over the team. So, like, currently on my team right now, Lemke moved to Buffalo, but this guy, Steve Sanchez, he's on my team. He was in It Dies Today originally playing bass before when Lemke played guitar, and he was in that band Bellicus. Also, Johnny Moore from This Is Hell is on my team. And then in my league, I think 2 of the kids from that band, Envy on the Coast, play. And the singer, what's that Long Island hardcore band that's huge? Oh, King 9. They're like a bigger, like getting bigger Long Island like hardcore band. The singer King Nine plays in my league. Like there's so many kids in bands like playing in my league. It's ridiculous. I can't even believe it.
Yeah,
It's the exact opposite with me.
Really? When I asked this question on, how I found you, John, like in the group, and after I agreed to you, he's like, a buddy messaged me. He's like, dude, like I tour, like I'm full time touring now, like with this band called the Pixies, and I had played with them.
Oh,
like,
they're huge.
I'd played with them for like the last 4 years and had no clue, right? Like I was just like, oh, and I'm like, well, he's like, did you ever wonder why I would, play one game and then have to miss 6? And I'm like, well, I just thought that was the beer league mentality. He's like, nah, bud. He's like, but I will come on eventually since you already got 2 people. But yeah, so like for me, like I had no clue that that my buddy was even in a band or touring full time. I guess he's not really that good of a buddy, but teammate anyway.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So,
it.
but anyway, all right, boys. Well, let's let's not be strangers. Maybe we can get you out to one of our tournaments when we get out east. Maybe we can.
Yeah,
talk.
if you come anywhere near Connecticut or near New York, anything like that, let me and him know. We'll be there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect, boys. Well, hey, thanks for coming on and doing this. I'll let you guys know when this thing is released, and you guys can tell all your friends and fans and family and all that stuff. And yeah, thanks for being a part of the BLPA group, and again, thanks for coming on and chatting with me for an hour.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, boys.
Yeah,
Chat
no
with you soon.
problem. Anytime, buddy. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
All right, see ya.
Have a good one. Later, Mark.